So the 60th is now fast approaching, and there's different little bits and pieces coming out every day, but we thought we would have more of a general discussion about what we want to see in and around the celebrations rather than the 60th themselves, because we'll do that later on. Give us a couple of more trailers first so there's more chance of us being right, and we'll do that. But for now, we want to look at the things that we want to see around the 60th, because they've been quite big events, the anniversaries, especially the 50th that we had, 10 years ago. Oh.
Don't remind... I was still in college the first time round. No. School. I was in school.
I was going to say, you haven't been in college that long, surely.
No, I don't know what time is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big mood. But I think, for me, I don't know, because with the 50th, there was so many things around it, and like it was a case of like all year, it was like, oh, it's going to be the biggest thing on TV this year. It's going to be the biggest thing on TV. I didn't hear much about it until sort of around about this time. You know, we had the announcement that Matt Smith was going, and then a couple of months later, Peter Capaldi was taken over. We had stuff like the Matthew Sweet documentary. Doctor Who was on all the quiz shows. They did Doctor Who specials. There was a proms. There was, merch. There was that nice limited edition box set. There was the Vault book, which you might just be able to see in the corner. So I'm going to start off by saying I want a Vault book, but obviously just expanded to everything that's come since that, because that is one of the best books I've seen done in Doctor Who, really. It's really nice. It goes through year by year, looking at key things and the topics around them and everything. So that's my first pick, but that was a really boring one. So I'm going to carry on and pass over to my esteemed colleague here. Why are we doing this so formal? I don't like it.
I don't know.
Weird.
I'm glad you mentioned the proms, though. So,
thank you.
Whilst I was never a big fan of classical music and like other stuff around that sort of scene.
Music.
Yeah. I really loved Doctor Who at the proms. Like, it was one of my favourite things. I'd sit down and watch that. You'd have all the monsters coming down the aisles and stuff. It was brilliant. Really well done. I really want to see another one. Especially with Murray Gold being back.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That leads us to talk about it was a quite nice segue, that, because they have announced this Doctor Who music celebration. It's going to be taking place in St David's. Not St David's. What's the other one? What's the one down the bay called?
Oh, Millennium Centre.
Millennium Centre, that's the one. That's going to be performed there and broadcast on the radio. And I swear to God, if I don't get tickets for that,
yeah, we're getting tickets.
Crimes will be committed. And if any of you little scalpers watching, right, and you think you can get hold of those tickets and sell them for like 3 or 4 times the asking price, I will find where you live. I will come to your home and I will burn it to the ground. I think. And what I like, it's what I said on Twitter as well, what I like about this new proms event being in Cardiff, they've always, I know the Doctor Who proms have always taken place in the Royal Albert Hall because that's where all the other proms take place, that's fair enough. But to actually have like a one-off concert event taking place in Cardiff Bay, rather than, because Cardiff has been passed over for a lot of things the last couple of years, Time Fracture, that never came to Cardiff.
That should have done. That they would have had a bloody ball.
Yeah.
In Cardiff.
That Worlds of Wonder thing that started in Liverpool and then went to, is it Edinburgh?
Yeah, it's in Scotland right now.
Yeah. That should have come to Cardiff. Or should have at least started in Cardiff,
It's almost like Doctor Who started in Cardiff.
Yeah, it's one of BBC Wales. It's probably it's the most successful thing BBC Wales have ever done, let's be honest.
It's the most successful thing BBC have ever done.
One of them. So it makes sense to, why not celebrate it, put Cardiff on the map a bit, Plus it's easy for us to get to, but that's not the point. That's not the point. But this it's quite interesting because it's not just a celebration of like sort of Murray Gold's music. It's listed everybody really who's ever made any music for the show in general. So there'll be a bit of classic in there. There'll be a bit of Jodie Whittaker era music there. Obviously Murray will be probably quite prominent because he's coming back as well and has done the most. Dudley Simpson was in there. So I think something like that is ideal. And I agree with you. I always think there's more proms than there is. There's only a handful. Yeah. But I always thought they were, like, I remember them being on, like, every year, but I think they were probably just repeated and stuff. But
it was a family event with us. We'd all sit down around the TV and watch it. Like, as ritual as watching Doctor Who on a Sunday evening.
Well, yeah, because it never used to be on TV until, like, Christmas time, was it? But then in the summer, it was always on the radio first, so you used to listen to it, and then you see it on TV, and you see, well, that's what they were all screaming and cheering at, like, because it's all people walking around in the costumes and everything. I remember the 2008 one very well, because that was the first one I listened to. The one that was before that, the sort of celebration of music thing, I don't remember that well, but the first proper Doctor Who proms, I remember, because I was in the car on the way to Manchester, and it was on, and it was like, we were driving, it was before the motorway, not before the motorway, like, as in before it was built, as in before we got to the motorway, like, and go through like North Wales and everything. And just having that on as we were driving through is quite a nostalgic memory for me. So every time I hear the 2008 one, I always remember that very, very long drive up to Manchester to see family up there. But yeah, definitely a proms thing is I would love to see. I would love to see some more one-off documentaries as well. You know, the stuff. I think you don't even need to do them that big. They don't need to be something necessarily huge. The box sets that the box set documentaries they do are produced by, you know, a relatively low budget, but they're amazing. They are some of the best TV documentaries you can get. And I just think it would be nice to have a sort of long one, maybe going through like the history of Doctor Who, but more, you know, more informative than just the Doctor Who started in 1963 and it's just a load of talking heads going, I loved it. Oh, it was really good. Oh, I was really scared of it. You know, that sort of thing. Because they did that Ultimate Guide for the 50th. And that was just talking heads, and it was like, I don't really care about McBusted's opinion on Doctor Who. To be honest.
No, I know.
Because do they know what a Zarbi is? I bloody doubt it.
No, I'd quite like to have a along the documentary line a making of one after the special, so you can like certain things that might come up in there. You can see just like if you were wondering how they managed to do that because it looked insane.
Yeah.
Have a look into that, or something involving Tennant and Tate together, just like reflecting on their time together in their first run together and everything they've done like till now and stuff. And I know I'm gonna cry if it happens, but commemorative piece for Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah, I mean that would have to be mentioned. So I would be very surprised if the 60th, at least the first one, isn't dedicated to Bernard Cribbins. You know, I mean, I imagine that's the reason Power of the Doctor wasn't, because obviously we don't know officially, but he's in the 60th, isn't he? So they obviously would make more sense to dedicate an episode of it that he's actually in, and what will be his final performance. You know, because I remember a lot of people trying to sort of sling that Power of the Doctor, going, how disrespectful that it wasn't dedicated to Bernard Cribbins, and it's like
he wasn't anything to do with that episode. Like,
slow down. Wait a minute. Chill out.
You know he's been filming for the 60th. Just calm down.
Wait, what? He's been filming for the 60th?
I was going to say something then, but that'd be too far.
You were going to say he's not filming anymore, are you?
I was going to go worse, but I'm behaving myself.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing it.
Okay. Another thing I would like to see more frequently, or not more frequently, but a couple more, is collection box sets. You know, we're approaching the 60th anniversary. Now is the time to do a season 1 collection, because a couple of them have been released on anniversaries of their respective seasons. I think season 8 was released on the 50th anniversary or like the 50th anniversary of season 8. You know what I mean. And I think doing a season 1 would be very easy, because all you've got to do is find a way to represent Marco Polo. You've got everything else, and I think it would be nice to have an animation, because I know the animations are very popular with a lot of people. I'm not that bothered. I just don't think that and it's not a slight, because the people that work on them do the best they can do with the budget and the time frames that they've got. But with something like that, it needs to be a very long and expensive process. And I just think that I forgot what I was saying. And I just think to give some of these, especially the bigger stories like Marco Polo, Dalek's Master Plan, that kind of thing, you need to have a long time frame. And do them by all means, but as long as you've got an official Telesnap reconstruction on there that has been cleaned up nicely and the audio has been remastered, I'm fine with that, honestly. Do what they did with season 2. Don't bother animating the Crusade, just stick the Telesnap ones on there. Sound of me. But a 60th anniversary first season set would be very nice. You know, some extra, stick an Adventure Space and Time on there, do some new documentaries about some of the other people. You know, I'd like a nice Verity Lambert documentary on there, for example, about the stuff she did after Doctor Who, just as well as Doctor Who and everything. Some interviews with Boris Hussein. That'd be fun. See, I'll do it now. Let me do it. I'm joking. Those people do it way more talented than me.
We could have Fraser Hines sit on the couch and watch the episodes back as well if they do series 4.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because they've announced these Underwater Menace now, which means that they only have to do the Smugglers, which has been rumoured for a while, and the Highlanders, which apparently is something to do with animating kilts. Is difficult. I'm not an animator, so
yeah, no, not me. Maybe it's just the way they move when they run. I don't know.
I think it's something to do with that. But I don't know. I mean, it could be. Who are we to judge?
It's not my profession.
No, but like I said, Telesnaps exists, so for that one, I think so. Stick them all in the box set, and I'd be very happy with that. I mean, Fraser Hines has done the behind the sofas for a couple of the later sets anyway. So I think some more collections, maybe some more animations, and these recolorizations that they've been talking about. Oh, colorizations, not recolorizations. Because there's been a big debate about the colorizations of people going, but that's not how it's meant to be watched. No. It's not replacing the original, because the original...
It's updating.
Well, yeah, it's an option. It's like when they have the CGI effects on the DVDs and stuff. They haven't put them on there like with the Star Trek DVDs, which you just have to watch. That's how they are. They've been remastered. It's going... We'll present this as the original, but if you want, as a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun, we've also updated the CGI that you can turn on if you want. You know, it's the same thing with the colorizations. If you don't want to watch them in colour, you don't have to. The originals are still going to be there.
Yeah, it can have like an option in the menu screen or something. Or
well, that's what I imagine it'll be, is that there'll be,
colour or...
you know, because they're talking about one of them is the first ever episode, and they'll broadcast that on BBC4 in colour. If you don't watch it in colour, BritBox, DVD shelves, you don't have to. It's perfectly fine to just not go. It's not for me. But I think I'm not really up for colorization. Yeah, but I think with Doctor Who it would really add something to it. Yeah. And seeing the efforts of fans and everything on YouTube that have just smashed it when it comes to just like fan colorizations and things.
Yeah,
like they look incredible. And I think really with an actual budget going, this is you know, we want this to be fit for broadcast on the telly. I think would be really nice. Especially for some stories. Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. I mean, I've just recently rewatched An Unearthly Child, and I just got bored one evening. I was like, you know what? First ever episode of Doctor Who, let's give it a go. Well, I say give it a go, let's watch it again.
I was going to say, you've seen it before, right?
Yeah, no, I have, and now I am just about to start season 2 again. I've kind of binged it in like 2 days alongside work. It's been a fun 2 days. It's a long 2 days, but it's been a fun 2 days.
I'm guessing you must have skipped over the missing episodes and everything. Then,
yeah, I've had to.
I was going to say.
I don't know. I don't have access to the missing episodes just yet.
I've got them on CD. You can borrow them.
Yeah. Is there anything else in your mind about what could come up around the 60th?
I mean, they should be the usual repeats, I think, on BBC4, just for people that might not... You know, there's always going to be people that go, oh... Like classic Doctor Who, I never really watched that. It's on the telly. Why not? You know, give it a go. Give it. I know for the 50th, I keep banging on about 50th, but it's a good comparison. And the 40th as well. To be fair, they repeated a lot, but they were still regularly on telly at that point anyway. But to have, you know, a story rep from each Doctor for people to pick into that might have never seen classic Who before and might not have BritBox or be splashing out on the collections or whatever, you know, and might just go, oh, I'd like to see what some of this is about, and to just dip in. I think it'd be really nice to get more people into it. That would be quite nice. I think as well, obviously I mentioned the quiz shows and everything, they're always good fun. I think a nice, you know, like how they used to do back before Doctor Who came back, and used to have, I don't know if you remember them much or if you saw much of them, was the Doctor Who nights they used to do, and they were sort of like from sort of 7 till midnight. You'd have like a Doctor Who selected programme, so there'd be a couple of documentaries or a couple of sketches and a couple of episodes thrown in here and there. Something like that would be really fun and nostalgic. I mean, I don't know how much valuable they are now with everything being so readily available at like the push of a button, but I think I remember seeing bits and pieces from Doctor Who nights and things where you got Tom Baker sort of talking about his time on the show, and then there was like a sketch, and then you'd have like an episode from the Hartnell years and something, and, you know, something like that. Something.
Just a random mismatch.
Yeah, just a bit of time to be a bit sort of indulgent, because that's what you do around in anniversaries. You be a bit self-indulgent.
Yeah, I know. Like we've got to watch a lot anyways for this, but I was always planning on watching a lot of Doctor Who in the next coming months ahead of the 60th.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of it we're going to have to go over anyways.
Yeah, well, there will be a certain tier list coming in the next month or two of a Mr. Tennant, if you've ever heard of him.
Certain review, I believe, of classic episode.
Which, oh yes, of course, yes. There's the 5 well, basically, up until the anniversary, we're going to try and cover all the main animated. We've already done Dimensions in Time, so don't get your hopes up. That's been
we're
done.
not doing that again.
We're not putting ourselves through that again. We'll put that in a playlist along with everything else. And if you want to see us talk about Dimensions in Time, it's already there. There's nothing more we can say on it, and there's no need for us to watch it again, ever again. I still have the headache now from the 3D, I'm not going to lie.
I've still got the glasses.
If you've not seen Dimensions in Time, it'll make much more sense to you if you have, so go and watch it after this video. I think doing all the anniversaries, and we did talk about doing a class review as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
And Unearthly Child will probably go over, because it is the 60th. It's only right to go back and rewatch the first serial of that.
Are we doing the whole serial, are we?
Oh, that was one episode, it doesn't matter. Fire.
Yay, let's
You
watch some
make fire.
cavemen talk about fire for what feels like a very long
eternity.
time.
Yeah.
Even though
It goes into Dalek, though, which is a great story.
Yeah, but just because something leads into something doesn't mean it's very... We've had this debate. This is a Town Called Mercy thing all over again. Oh, it's good because it connects to everything. I mean, my main themes, like I said, is just to get some more merch out, you know, some more limited edition stuff, some more treats for the collectors and the fans and things, you know. I'm not that bothered.
Toy Maker toys, stuff like little figures.
Yeah, just things like that, you know, more figures, more... I say more audios. I don't think they can possibly do any more audios, but they'll find a way. I've not listened to a single part of Big Finish's 60th anniversary mini-series yet.
Can't get around to it.
I just haven't had a chance. I'm still, like, in terms of real time, plus the other side stuff I'm listening to as well, and my podcasts, I'm still like 2 or 3 years behind. And that's only on like the mainline Doctor Who stuff. I'm not listening to necessarily, you know, the fucking Joe Grant returns in some Deus Ex Machina way, or, you know, I'm talking like the main Doctor Who sets, you know, the main range, and the 4th Doctor and the 8th Doctor stuff, and then the box sets. I'm not gone into the spin-offs yet because I just don't have the money or the time. So I haven't heard any of the 60th anniversary stuff yet. I've heard mixed things on it, and from what I've seen of it, it doesn't really interest me that much. It's doing the proper Big Finish dartboard approach to things. It's like, we'll have this Doctor and this character. And do you know the 6th Doctor release was the 6th Doctor, an older Harry Sullivan, which is a bit weird to use Ian Marter's likeness aged up past the age he was when he died in real life. That was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Paired up with
more
Lady
like,
Christina and Jackie Tyler.
Yeah, no, I could do without that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard it. It might be very good, but just going off it, it's not what sells it to me. I'd rather just have them. I want them all meeting up like they did Light at the End. Like, very simple story, but the fun is the interactions and everything. It's the classic Doctor multi-story thing we didn't get on TV. Just something like that. Maybe they're not allowed to meet. Maybe they're not allowed to meet because they're in the 60th, because Big Finish have to clear everything with the BBC well in advance in case they go, no, we're doing a story set in Victorian London dealing with talking cabbages. I don't know if that's come off the top of my head. That'll probably be
cabbages.
I don't know. It'll probably be a box set in the next year or two anyway.
Yeah, probably.
So maybe that's why they're not meeting up.
Maybe they'll do a story on how a lettuce outlived Liz Truss's term. You never know.
You don't need a box set. Oh, you need a bit of common sense. Anyway, that was a bit rambly, wasn't it?
Yeah, but these are some of our best videos, though. To be honest, when we just talk.
Yeah, but that is essentially what we do with most videos.
No, but when we let our minds wander with stuff, like, because with this one, obviously we have to come up with ideas.
That is true.
So it's just like we kind of have to let our minds wander a bit to see what we want.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of ideas, and then half of them have already sort of like come true anyway. You know, I was hoping for the animations to continue alongside, you know, because, like I said, not that fussed on the animations, but I like that they're there, and it's nice to have a version physically of each.
And it's nice that someone actually cares enough to go back and do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the money's come from. I can probably assume it would have been somewhere in the BBC, because I know that they were co-funded by BBC America, because they would broadcast them on telly. But now Disney Plus has the exclusive broadcasting rights to Doctor Who outside the UK. Maybe the money's Disney? I doubt it would be.
Disney Animation?
But, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But if they're getting Disney money, then the animation should be...
top tier.
Yeah, giving them money and more time. That's a big thing, is that time constraints. We could do a whole video on that as well, you know.
Yeah, no, easily.
So instead of going off topic, we will be back next week with something different.
Yes.
I have nearly finished the War Master video, so maybe that might be up. But I feel like at that point, it's just a catchphrase. It'll nearly be out, maybe. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, goodbye.
Oh, like, share, and subscribe.
That's that one, please.
We're very tired.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a long day.
It have been a very long day.
Anyway, we'll see you later.
Bye.